I'm so excited to go live today. I'm going to go live with Aki from Minka, Brooklyn. We're going to be talking about the C.O.R.E training, and I'm actually here with my daughter, who I'm hoping will be very chill the whole time. Okay, let me bring Aki on. Conversation. I feel like there's going to be so much hope and really good content for all of us, especially at this moment in time. Hi, Aki.
Hi! I'm so happy to go live with you and the babe.
I know. Well, when we talked about doing this, you were like, bring the baby. So,
Yes, I love having babies in classes.
yeah, I feel like she adds just a really sweet energy and
Yes, she
presence.
does.
Yeah.
She does.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I just kind of I'm staying in Brooklyn. I'm actually staying in Queens. I'm staying in Rockaways right now,
Oh
and
my
I just
gosh.
actually it's really lovely. And but I was in Brooklyn, so I just kind of commute my way back to the beach.
Wow. I didn't realize you were back on this continent.
Oh yes, I have been. I'll be in the States until mid-February.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What a time to be here.
What a time to be here. And I just actually really I had many different ways to places that I could be in right now, but I just really thought the studying the core
Yeah.
in the United States for me was very important. It was the grounding that I needed to do personally. So I'm really happy that I got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, speaking about being here, I would love to dive right in and I would
Yes,
love
yes,
to
yes.
hear your perspective
Yeah.
on why showing up in leadership as a healer, facilitator, practitioner, organizer is so important right now.
Um, so for me, this word leadership, I was having conversation this morning too with someone. I think each and every person in this lifetime is a leader somewhere, because we all care about something, someone, group of people, right? So when I say leader, that really means all the people who have the desire to steward a group of people, a mission, a purpose. So with that being said, the world is shifting, right? How the society has moved from ages ago to now, and we are seeing this, what it looks like a crumbling. Um, it's funny because I pulled a card the other day for a class, a group of people, and what we're gonna be focusing on this year. And the word that came was apocalypse,
Whoa.
and they all freaked out. And what I said was, the word apocalypse actually means revelation
Mm,
as the root of the word. It has nothing to do with rupture. It's unveiling. It's going beyond the veil. So for me, when I saw that card, I thought that was so fitting that we have this card, because we have been going kind of grinding against this veil for such a long time. And now we may be having this opportunity finally to be able to see what's beyond the veil for the first time with a bit more clarity. Hi,
yeah.
baby. She agrees.
Yes, she does.
And if we are looking to create a reality that is so different from what we know, what we have done, and we know it doesn't work, there is a certain level of uncertainty that comes with that, right? We are not looking for certainty. We are looking for ways to create something new, in the trial and error. And that actually means it requires a lot of creativity. And what that means is that we requires a lot of different input, meaning that we need more and more people to feel the power within themselves to lead the group of people and gather more people to push through the veil.
I love that.
So that's why I find it to be very important right now.
Yeah, and so we have starting up the consciousness of radical equity training, the core training.
Yeah.
And for folks who maybe are new to what core is, do you want to
Yeah.
give a little bit of, I'm curious to know where the inspiration
Came
really
from?
really came from. Yeah.
Yeah. So, consciousness of radical equity is actually a third iteration of our program, I believe. It started out as a practitioner mentorship, small group, to lay people and practitioner mentorship to core. So you are right at that time when we actually really building out the core. And this one's going to be the third cohort. However, you would probably be surprised at how much we have shifted because we restructured it last year completely. So I'm really excited about that. But where you started was that when I started Minka back in 2016, we are turning 10 this year, which is really cool. Which means I probably know you for 10 years. And look what came
I
about.
know.
Awesome.
I know.
Look what
Yeah,
came
it's
about.
definitely been 10 years.
Yeah. So within that 10 years, things has shifted quite a lot in the wellness and spirituality world. And when we opened our doors, this conversation between social justice and spirituality and integrity and responsibility were rarely talked about. And we just saw a great harm being done without any malintention, right? No one's trying to hurt anybody. We were just not well educated. And we started to, because I come from community organizing background and kind of the social justice background, when I actually looked at what we were doing through that lens, I realized, oh, there's a great need for a type of education that allows us to self-examine and self-reflect in order for us to be more effective in doing what we are doing. Instead of going 5 steps forward and 3 steps back, what if we can take 3 steps, but we are taking 3 steps?
I love, when you shared this inspiration of like realizing that there was unintentional harm being done and being able to bridge together the personal healing and the collective liberation. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Minka was where I was like fresh out of college and like
Yes.
happened to live across the street and just popped over and was like, how can I be part of this? So, and I've told you this, but it like, that's where I started my career in healing, and then, or as a practitioner in my business, and then to then realize what a unique situation it was. Like, I had no idea. I thought everybody, I was like, aren't we all like doing decolonization work? I had no
Surprise,
idea.
surprise, huh?
But it has given me such a level of like reverence and just humility about what is required to build a space like that that can create belonging for all people in doing this work, because I think that's perhaps where a lot of folks get like from hopping from the spirituality world into like collective liberation and social justice,
Mm-hmm.
even though it isn't a leap, because really we're all working towards the same goal
Yeah,
of experiencing and living in love, right?
yeah,
In
yeah,
oneness. But
yeah.
like it can feel like a leap because the language is so different. Like when we're doing
Mm-hmm.
the personal work, we're talking about shadow work and alchemizing your own inner demons or shadows or whatever. But then we're talking about the collective work, and sometimes people get a little nervous or unsure, or they just don't have the language for it. And I think Minka has done an incredible job of building that bridge of understanding in a way that doesn't make people feel shameful or like, I guess there's always a little bit of fear, right? Do you want to speak to that, folks who maybe are unsure about crossing that bridge?
That's actually a really common question. Like, what if I'm scared or I feel
Yeah.
unsure if I can do it? I was like, I mean, I think that you are just being realistic. You know, I would say if you're really confident that you feel like you won't make any mistakes with this topic, all of these topics, I feel like yeah, I'll be a little bit like, are you sure? Have you really thought about this? Did you read the whole thing? You know, um, because our edge, standing at the edge of our growth is always scary because we are expanding. Because, and then you know what is beautiful about that in terms of this metaphor is because that's exactly what creating the new world is. We have to stand at the edge where we don't know where we are going, and that's actually what we have to be able to do for ourselves. And if we can't do it for our individual selves, how can we do it for everybody else? Right? So that's where how a rapid transformation of the inner and outer alchemy can happen when we actually look at decolonization in a way, because you start to realize what's happening outside is what's happening inside. That means that what's happening inside is going to happen outside. Then you get to understand that we don't have to, I mean, sure, you know, I'm not going to say we don't have to be concerned. We do have to be concerned, right? And the focus of what we can do within the means that we have, that's actually good enough. When we do it well and when we have the decolonial practice included in it, no matter what you do. So, Consciousness of Radical Equity is a 15 months long immersive training with three pillars, that is equity, spirituality, and embodiment. And oftentimes people are like 15 months long, that's a long time. Now, we tried to make it shorter, everybody. We tried it 3 months, we tried it 6 months, we tried it 9 months, and we realized we can't fit it. That is because that we are really focusing on integration and embodiment. So we have a learning methodology that is about resource, integrate, and apply, that really creates this complete um, cycle or continuing cycles of practice of embodiment. So this program is obviously an equity program and decolonial program, and this is not an academic program. And don't get me wrong, you're going to have a lot of information. However, what we are focusing on is to have an information and have a place to practice. Because a lot of the times, a lot of us have information. We have read books, we have watched movies and documentaries, we might have even taken courses. But what's lacking is that we don't have the practice place where everybody can speak the same language and we can allow each other to make mistakes and we can be honest and we can be accountable. So that is the reason why it's 15 months. And it is stewarded by 10 different faculty, which Melanie is a part of this year, starting this year. I'm so excited to welcome her back. And, you know, I think, like Melanie said, we also want to destigmatize this idea of doing decolonial work or equity work, that I will say there will be discomfort, obviously, because when we learn something that is so heartbreaking, and quite honestly, that most of us has been lied to our entire lives about our histories and the reality that some people live in, there will be discomfort, there will be sadness, there will be grief. However, this is not going to be a program where you are put into a place to shame yourself, because that is not going to be about, that's not going to bring anyone into the place of decolonization and also a place of learning to embody true power in a way that you can catalyze everybody else around you to do the same. And that's not coming from shame and blame methodology of teaching. It comes from the embodiment type of practice and learning. So I find it to be a unique model, but obviously I'm a little biased. And I am also very excited to be working with so many wonderful faculties. And I feel so grateful that we are trusted to steward this. So if anyone has questions, I'd love for people to come and join us. If you have questions, just send me a message. We can book a call and talk about it. We have BIPOC scholarships available. I believe work exchange position is probably closed now, but you can try. And we actually have a special discount for Melanie's group too. So anyone who sign up through Melanie, you still get a discount. This is not a industry specific training. This is a passion and purpose specific training. So the people who would be a great fit for a core program would be the type of people who are looking around the world thinking, we must be missing something. We feel like something is amiss here, right? And I know that I want to do something, and can't quite understand what it is that I can do. So that would probably a main question that you would have. You look around the world and goes, what is going on here? I know this is not working, but it doesn't seem like we have a clear way or clear answers to where we are going. And I want to be a part of making that next thing, because I don't want us to be coexisting in this way. There got to be a better way. So that could be people who are coaches, right? Who are healers or spiritualists. Or that could be a people who quite honestly be working in a corporation. Could be someone who's working in not-for-profit or doing some researches. I have someone who's in not-for-profit who has registered. I have someone returning from the first cohort to do a community research project because that's going to be her cap project. And actually, she's not PhD, she's actually a professor. So and someone who has a spiritual community. And so it really is, and what I really want to happen is that in order for us to make the world, we need to have a cohort that's the world, meaning cross-pollination, so we can actually start to see how we can collaborate to make this sphere bigger. It's not about being limited to only this sector has to change. No, every sector has to change. We need accountants, lawyers, and CEOs, and healers, and mediums, and shamans, and everyone to be able to actually speak this language. So if there is a passion that you want this world to be better, and if you are the one who wants to see this world through the decolonized lens, because that is a kind of world that we get to live in, then you are the one.
I love that. Is this for people who are like, I guess, is this open and appropriate for people who are perhaps brand new to this work?
I think if you are very, very new, you might be a little overwhelmed. I would say to start taking more of a personal development type of classes, whether they would take your coaching training program where you dive deeper into what it means to usher people through the process. And then when you learn to usher people through the process, you are the one who has to do the deepest work. So you actually might be thinking about something like that, or you might think about stop coming to Minka classes, because all of our school materials are very much including the decolonial process in every subject of it. So you could think about doing something like that. If you want to get some personal mentorship from some of our teachers, that's something you can do too. So yes, and we would love to have you in a year time, next cohort or the two cohorts later. And I think it's important for you to have just a little bit of information. If you don't know anything about decolonization, if you don't know anything about equity, that's okay. You can start. And this program would be too much. When we start to do this work in a group dynamic, what we realize is that we are good in some areas and we may not be so good in some areas. So this kind of gives a space to round out the harder edges and And then also in the area where you know more, you also get to be the one to support those that who may actually be struggling, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what's beautiful about the community learning, is that you also are invited to share the wisdom, because that's really where you also understand where your strengths are.
I love that. So there's like almost this reflection that happens in community where you're seeing other people shine in their strengths and then that's
Yeah,
being reflected back to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful to see.
Yeah. I would love to talk a little bit because the portion that I'm teaching is the business piece. So I'd love
Mm-hmm.
to talk a little bit about how that might support people. And
Mm-hmm.
based on the folks that you're seeing come in, the folks that have done this training before, what are some of the points of curiosity
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps where they want to go deeper in business? What have you seen to be the need and desire in those places?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think money and abundance is such a touchy subject when it comes to social justice and healing and spiritual work, you know? So
Yes.
your class will follow what a class called Beyond Capitalism, where Omar Freila will be actually talking about there are different ways for us to be abundant, not only capitalism, right? And this is not to say that capitalism cannot exist. That is not that. However, we can actually look at what has been working, what does work, so we can also somewhat divest from whatever is harming us. So in those kind of questions, we also want to think about our relationship to abundance, and also our human conditions, which require survival. That actually means that we do have to be part of this system that allows us to earn income. And that is not a shameful thing. That is something that we have to be responsible for ourselves and also for our families, especially for those people who actually have families, right? So, how can we look at this from a place where you are not about shame and still be abundant and still not being extractive? And that conversation is something that we all need to have, because whatever is in subconscious, especially if it's something as sticky as shame and rage and guilt, then that will start to show up in our world. So um until last year, I didn't really have this very specific business strategy part, and when I thought about it, I realized we were doing this service, because I wanted people to be able to sustain themselves and look at abundance from a human right, that earth is abundant, that
Mhm.
we are made in abundance. And the system teaches us otherwise, but that's actually not the whole truth. So, how can we write that relationship? Is something that I really want all of our cohort to just take it home with them and to
I
their
love that.
community.
I am so excited to see and who I love to follow are folks who are showing up in their own version of what abundance looks like
Yeah.
and showing up in their authentic wisdom and truth. And I think especially when you're growing a business and you're allowing yourself to be in relationship to marketing in a way that feels authentic and value driven, then the
Mm-hmm.
abundance just flows. Like
Mm-hmm.
it shows up when you show up to share your wisdom and when there's reciprocity
Mm-hmm.
and folks being in a good relationship with receiving money is so
Right.
important because I don't know if you've experienced this, but the energetic exchange piece is
Mm-hmm.
so important, not just for the practitioner offering their work but for the client. They just, if there isn't the energetic exchange, the reciprocity, the client or the person receiving doesn't receive as much.
Yep.
Like I remember being stunned by that early on in my career.
Very. And we used to offer full scholarships for certain things, And we actually stopped for that reason, because the one that who received the full scholarship stopped showing up.
Yeah, same.
And it's a
Yeah.
very interesting psychological thing. So yes, we do have partial scholarship, and it is a general scholarship, especially because it's self-funded actually.
Hmm.
and and it's actually important to have that exchange. And even for work exchange folks, they are actually exchanging that value, and also they actually pay what they can name whatever it is that they need to pay, right? But there still will be the financial commitment part to it, because we realize otherwise people don't last.
Yeah, but that changed my perspective on receiving money and
Mm.
charging
Mm-hmm.
money when I realized it was a disservice to my clients and community
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't have that reciprocity. And I
Yeah.
could offer, yeah, super, and I still do offer super generous scholarships the same. But
Yep.
if there is no exchange, then the folks just don't get the same thing out of it. But that
Yeah.
helped me as a practitioner change my mindset because I'm like, okay, actually charging a, in a rate that feels good for me, good for them
Mm-hmm.
is part of this experience. Like that's
Yeah.
part of how we enter into a healing relationship.
Mm-hmm. Because, when we talk about the spiritual practice, especially the indigenous form of practice, and even when it's not indigenous, I believe, is that there has to be always a reciprocity, right? Oh, actually, even in Christian traditions, like you give monetary offerings. Now,
Yeah.
later became tax and all that thing. That's a little bit different. However, but there has to be something that you give in order for you to be in the relationship, because it's not necessarily an exchange. It's not a transaction. From the capitalistic point of view, we can look at it as a transaction, but it actually is the relationship that you are exchanging the energy. And money, currency, happen to be the form of energetic exchange that's most widely used. I mean, we have work exchange, so that actually is an energetic exchange. That's why we can have a
Hmm.
very different, very different tier for them,
Hmm.
right? However, it is still an energetic exchange, because that actually creates a relationship.
Hmm. I also am so interested in, money as a tool and catalyst for the shifting. Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, I was
um,
like, was it
no,
not?
I'm just so interested in money as a tool for the shifting of power so that we can have more folks who are versed in collective liberation in a place of
Mm-hmm.
power. I'm just realizing my phone is actually going to die. This is new mom life, so I'm going to
Exactly.
I'm going to charge it.
Yes, please
But
do.
do you want to speak to that at all?
Yes. Um, when we vilify money, what start to happen is that we actually go into the shadow side of the energy of abundance, right? It's not the money that is evil. It is in whose hand that money is in. It really depends. It is the same as gun. It is the same as sword. It is depending on the person who's holding that. And that's actually a resource, right? Money is nothing but an energetic resource, which can be applied in many different ways. So for me, people like, wow, you want people from the corporation to come? I was like, of course we do, because they actually have a lot of access to resources called money. And that means that when they actually understand this whole picture, what they can do with that resource is a lot bigger than actually what I have, because it's not like I'm swimming in money in my life. And I would like all of the people who have resources and access to financial abundance to have this information so they can use it. If somebody doesn't have it, we can't use it, right? But if those who have it have this information and understand what it means to be a be a part of liberation, and they actually can hold a critical part of it, and then they want to share it, that's
Yeah.
really where we need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also talked about with the business piece,
Mm,
being able to clearly communicate what
yes.
it is you offer
Yes.
and and stepping through some of what I see a lot of practitioners are held back by this imposter syndrome. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who am I to do this? Am I good enough? Like,
Yep.
who wants to listen to me? Is
Right.
it even going to work out? Like, why even try? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that is just internalized shadow work that we get to work through in order. It's like just
Mm-hmm.
what I love about business is that it is such an initiation into deeper healing. Like anything that comes up in your business is a beautiful representation of something that can be healed and brought into wholeness within yourself. It's like, oh, are
Very
you
true.
worried about sharing your message on, to a wider variety of people, or like showing up and being seen or speaking, or like what is that visibility wound? Like that is so interesting to me. And also, where else in your life would you be brought into awareness about that piece that can really be loved within you that perhaps hasn't been nurtured in the way that it deserves to?
Yeah. Yeah. When I opened Minka for first few years, Minka was my spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Because of what you just said. Exactly that thing you just said. Because everything that showed up in the business was me.
Yeah.
And it still is, right? And the things do still show up. And, 10 years in, it's a little different.
It's so funny because I'm just like remembering 22-year-old me was just so starry-eyed. It would have it like all seemed so put together. It seemed so seamless. Like just
Oh,
all figured out.
not at all. And I think that is the thing about spiritually rooted business, though, because that's also something a little bit different about Minka is that I opened the space never looking at it as a business, but I looked at it as a spiritual entity and a purpose
Mhm.
that it has. So oftentimes when I get kind of stumbled or when I face this wall, I had to constantly remember and say, Aki, this is not about you.
Yeah.
What does this want to accomplish? And what are you or what are you not doing? You just ushering this out. It has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with you because you have to like do some tangible things like a cleaning the toilet or something. But you know, but beyond that, it's not about me. It's really about the people who walk in and be held, and how can they be held better. And if we
Mhm.
do that, then this will go, because that was exactly the reason this idea came through me. It's not mine. People are like, well, you own Minka. I was like, I don't own Minka at all. I think Minka owns me though, but Minka certainly owns me in some kind of ways. However, I definitely do not own Minka. Minka belongs to all of the people, including you, all of the people who have come and pour their love into. That is the only reason Minka exists the way it does. If it were just me, it would not be doing what it's doing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, one of the ways that I've related to business is that it really is a home for your soul's work. And when I hear you talk about Minka in that way, it really like I feel that essence there. It
That's a beautiful way to put it.
I've had, and I know you have too, since starting my work and my business, I've
Mm,
had some of the most extreme life circumstances happen in my personal life, like both
mm,
amazing and wonderful, and also like heartbreaking. Like I became a mother, but I also lost my own mother to cancer, and
mm.
it's and so many other things as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we are dedicating ourselves to showing up in service of our soul's work and creating a business to hold that, a structure to hold that,
Mm-hmm.
it can become a refuge. It can become a sanctuary, because even in the outside, in our lives, when things are chaotic, everything happening right now, if we have this home to come to that is a representation of my mission here, like bringing for Minka, like the home for people to explore their soul and their medicine and express their greatest gifts and connect in community and create
Mm-hmm.
liberation for self and for all. Like it is so it's such a like healing balm, I feel like, for us as practitioners to create a business that feels that way for
Yeah,
ourselves, for
totally.
people, and like I know for me when I'm working on my business, it is not only serving, but it also helps me feel like the rest of the chaos in my life has more meaning, and like I can even release some of the intensity that I'm holding because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so connected to my soul's mission when I'm doing my work. And when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in places and spaces like Minka and in community where everybody
Mm-hmm.
is connected in that as well, it really is not only deeply purposeful in helping to create and usher in this new way of existing more harmoniously, but
Mm-hmm.
it just feels good at the same time. You know, it's a warm
That's
bath.
I'm so glad you said that, because one of the things that we keep repeating in every conversation I'm having is that when it's a common misunderstanding, when we are doing work like equity work, it doesn't feel good. But the thing is, in doing that work, we can actually be truly authentic with one another without holding things back, knowing that we speak the same language, and this feeling of home that we get to have, and this feeling of really liberation, not only within myself, but with other people. That kind of freedom is, I know it's rare, and it's accessible. And Baba and I, or Lindsay and I, or Ashley and I, we were talking about, we do this work and we teach this because it feels good, and we want everybody to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
like we want to beat anybody, with the hammer. It's really like, no, 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 this is really great. It feels really good. You should come.
Hmm. Absolutely. I know
Yeah,
it can be intimidating because it does,
it is.
there are the parts that require shadow. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know in my experience of doing anti-racism work with Minka, like I come up against my own edges of comfort, my own shadow, my own places of ignorance, and but then when you come up against that and then you have folks who are like, it's okay, like we got you,
Yeah,
you're doing it, let's go,
yeah,
then it's like this really lovely nurturing like energy that's just waiting for you alongside that to usher you through. And then the more you practice that, the
yeah.
better it feels. And then you do get to this point eventually where you're like looking forward to, okay, let's go in, let's do this work.
Let's
I'm
talk about
ready.
it.
Because the like catharsis
Yeah,
and the nurturance that's waiting for you with it. And that part makes it so worth it, not only because you care about people and want to like create a life that is as least harmful as possible,
yeah,
but also because it does feel so, it is real liberation, and it's
yeah,
nurturing and it's warm and it's comforting,
yeah.
and I love that piece.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the part that people often don't talk about, or maybe people often don't get to experience because they may start and stop because maybe there wasn't a container, or there wasn't encouragement or support or mentorship, and they stop at the point of pain, and maybe never be able to receive the benefit of it or the fruit of it. And I think that's actually quite disheartening, and I don't want that to be the case, because I think at the end of the day, if one person is suffering, we all are suffering in some kind of way, because we are each other's mirror.
Hmm.
And I'm not a perfect person, and I will never be, because I'm human, and none of our faculties are, I'm pretty sure. However, we The point is that we continue to show up. And I think one of the things that I can say about you, Melanie, is that you have always shown up, you know? And even when things, I can just imagine it could have been challenging. We are like all people of color, and there you are, and we're always talking about anti-racism and patriarchies and decolonial process, and there you are, but you always showed up. You remained curious, and you kept your heart open, and you came with the humility that you can always learn more, because we all can,
Yeah.
right? And I think that you have always brought us so much joy, and also we feel grateful to have an ally
Mm.
that we could actually say, hey, I just really need you to just keep an eye over here for us, because it is just, whether it's unfair or not, there are folks there are folks who wouldn't listen to me, who wouldn't listen to Baba, who wouldn't listen to Ashley. They may listen to you.
Mm.
And I used to find that infuriating. Now I just look at it as what it is, and how can I have more folks who can talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, being brought into the Minka community, I still feel this way. Like nothing but like reverence and gratitude. I felt like, yeah, there was a period of time when I was on the Minka headquarters team for folks who are watching, and I was the only white person there. And for me, it was a great, I mean, wow, such a privilege, an experience to be in the room with folks talking so openly about anti-racism work, decolonization work, like all of the isms, and to just be able to receive, and to learn. And I feel like it took me, I didn't even, because I just kind of stumbled into like
You just lived across the street.
I just lived across the street. I mean, I also, like, to be fair, um I have had my whole life
Yeah, you did.
drawn towards social justice work, but I didn't
Yeah.
do it like in the way we did it at Minka till I was there.
Mm.
And I didn't actively seek it out. It was just divine alignment.
Was meant to be.
It was. But again, like once I moved out of the city and got oriented in other spaces, it was really um I realized even more what a gift Minka
Mm.
was
Mhm.
for me, and how it's a divine gift. Like I feel like I was divinely placed at the exact right moment in time, with the readiness and I was so young and like still just like open, and um yeah, it truly a gift. And I think that I would hope that anybody who's coming into contact with Minka's work, especially folks who are white, like I've noticed that white folks can get a little like scared about what anti-racism work means, because it's like, well, what does that mean about who I am or how I was raised, or like, does that mean something's wrong with me, or there's just the rejection, the defensiveness of
Yeah.
like, well, that's not me, I don't carry those things. But once we can soften and be like, actually, there's nothing wrong with any of us. We just carry cultural shadows that we
Hmm.
all get to heal through together in the birthing of a new paradigm. And once we can get to that place, it actually softens defensiveness in all areas of life. Like I've noticed the anti-racism work, and especially as a white person, like softening the defensiveness or like the shame changes how I interact in relationships with everybody.
With everybody.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing because suddenly you're able to communicate with more clarity and compassion to everyone.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even matter who you're talking to, but like the
Yeah.
defensiveness is softened, the curiosity is present. It's an
Mm-hmm.
incredible way
Mm-hmm.
of learning how to relate with kindness.
Yeah. And genuine kindness, not
Yeah.
not the kindness that you feel that you have to be, but you want to, because
Yeah.
you can really understand what it means to live in this society, you know,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful gift to have,
Yeah.
you
It
know.
unlocks empathy, right? Like this deep
Hmm.
level of
Yeah.
empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that is the reason spirituality is huge part of it. Because in order for us to truly understand equity, we have to understand interconnectedness. And if
Mhm.
we want to understand interconnectedness, we have to kind of understand spirituality in
Mm.
whatever the form it is, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so the pillar of equity, spirituality, embodiment really comes from years of our experience doing this, and we just realized those three things cannot be separated. They just all have to come as a pack in order for it to be truly effective. So
Yeah.
I'm just really excited to see how folks gonna come in and just start just rolling up the sleeve and getting to know one another.
Yeah. So folks, if they want to apply to C.O.R.E, can go to Minka's link in bio. You can also send me a message if you want my discount code or you want to bundle with any of my coach trainings. I have what I was saying before is my sacred ceremony guide and ritual training I think might be interesting for folks because
Hmm.
I teach a specific framework for ritual facilitation that you can imbue with your own blood lineage and ancestral lineage so you're not appropriating
That's
cultures
exciting.
that you're not aligned with or that
Hmm.
that are you haven't been trained in. And I feel like this particular framework is universal but also deeply mystical and could be a really beautiful pairing for people who want to step deeper into their practitionerhood.
Yeah,
um
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, it's really magical. It's called
Yeah.
the Sacred Ceremony Guide and Ritual Training.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
yeah, I think that could be a beautiful pairing. So if folks are interested, I can offer a discount off of that training. And then we have the bundle with C.O.R.E and a discount with C.O.R.E. So it would be a really lovely way to deepen one's spiritual, professional, collective liberation journey.
Yes.
Yay.
More of that. We
Yeah.
need that. We want that. We are happy and joyous about it,
Yes.
and we'll
Oh,
get there.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on live and
Thank you for having
flowing
me.
with the baby.
Oh, after three, it's
I
like, of course.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
was so healing for me today too. I was looking forward to it. I was like, yes, we're gonna have a really good, loving, nurturing conversation full of joy and hope. So I'm really glad we were able to
I
do this.
always love to hear your voice and thoughts and your frequency.
Thank you. Well, I'm
It,
excited for more.
yes, and I'm really like, it brings me back that beautiful memory. That too, actually, a little
Yeah.
nostalgic, right?
Yeah, it is a little nostalgic. I feel that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, my
thank
love.
you. Yes, thank you for those who've watched. I'll see you
Yes,
soon.
love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.